Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 70 of the Nigeria Football Weekly podcast. Me, your host, Olu Oke. Well, today is Monday, the 15th of January. So today's going to be a quick one. We're just going to be reviewing the game against Equatorial Guinea, which took place yesterday, and then previewing the game against Cote d'Ivoire, which will be taking place on Thursday, the 18th of January. So, without any further ado, we all know what happened yesterday. Nigeria drew 1-1 to Equatorial Guinea. Not quite my prediction of 2-0, but not exactly surprising considering Jose Pesero's record. We drew 1-1. Ivan Salvador scored the goal for Equatorial Guinea. I'm sure keen AFCON watchers will remember him from the last AFCON, where he played really, really well and scored, I think, 2 goals for Equatorial Guinea. And Victor Osimhen scored Nigeria's goal. So we'll get into it, but at the very least, it's good to see him break his AFCON duck in his second start for Nigeria at a major tournament. So, how did Nigeria line up? We went with a 4-2-3-1, or 4-3-3, if you want to call it that. Stanley Nwabali made his AFCON debut for Nigeria in goal, and his debut of any kind for the national team. Ola Aina started at right back. We had a centre-back pairing of Troost Ekong and Semi Ajayi, with Zaidu Sanusi playing at left back. Frank Onyeka and Alassane Yusuf were at the base of the midfield, and Alex Iwobi played as a cam. And then on the wing, we had Ademola Lookman on the left, Moses Simon on the right, and Victor Osimhen up top as expected. Our hosts, we know that Emilio Nsue, who I mentioned in the preview, would play as a starting striker. But to be fair, I don't really care about the rest of their team. So, game recap. Nigeria had 19 shots to Equatorial Guinea 7. We had 7 shots on target and still did not manage to win. Possession was fairly equal, 51% to 49%. And notable things, yellow cards. The game was fairly foul-free. There were 2 yellow cards for Equatorial Guinea and 1 for us. So that's the state of play. How did the game go? Key moments. Oh my God. First of all, 9th minute, I'm sure you'll remember Zaidu Sanusi's gilt edge miss. Open goal. I don't know what he was thinking. We also saw Victor Osimhen have a shot saved in 20th minute, but he was just offside. Osimhen then put a header wide in the 28th minute. And then we had a decent opportunity in the 33rd minute with a driven cross, which nobody was able to take advantage of. Equatorial Guinea then scored in the 35th minute with Ivan Salvador scoring a great goal after a cutback. I thought he did really, really well to place that ball in the net. There's not really that much Stanley Nwabali could have done about it, to be fair. And then Victor Osimhen scored a goal after great work by Ademola Lookman, who put in a perfect cross for him. To be honest, he could hardly miss. And he was basically right in front of the goal where he headed the ball into the net. Shortly after that, Emilio Nsue had a header that went wide. And then just before halftime, we saw Moses Simon hit the outside of the post. To be fair, the Equatorial Guinea goalkeeper made a save. So that was interesting. Second half, 49th minute, Lookman was through on goal, but he had a bad touch. And then in 53rd minute, probably the most frustrating thing we saw in the match, Zaidu Sanusi was through on goal. Two Nigerian players. Iwobi is running. Basically, all he needs to do is square the ball to Iwobi, and he somehow passes the ball to the Equatorial Guinea goalkeeper. So that was awful. Right after that, in the 54th minute, we saw Victor Osimhen miss a one-on-one chance, which was not very, very good. This was the one where he tried to lob the goalkeeper and it hit the goalkeeper's head. And then following that, Ola Aina also had a very good opportunity in the 65th minute. He skipped past the defender brilliantly. I'm sure you saw him showing off his fitness. And then we saw Alassane Yusuf get injured, even though he was probably the player of the match up until that point. In the 75th minute, we had the biggest opportunity of the game. Alex Iwobi played Victor Osimhen clean through one-on-one, and the African Footballer of the Year somehow managed to miss the one-on-one. He didn't even hit the target. Honestly, that was gilt-edged opportunity. If he took that chance we would have won the game. Shortly after, Emilio Nsue missed the chance again. And then in stoppage time, Chukwueze was one-on-one, and we know how that went. So, all in all, not a very good performance from Nigeria because we really should have started the game with the win. But all things considered, I guess you could say we created more opportunities than we have in recent AFCONs. So we have to look for the positives. In terms of good performances, I want to single out two people. I thought Hassan Yusuf was brilliant. It was his Super Eagles debut. And keen listeners of the podcast over the previous episodes I've done over the years, you know how much I've been clamoring for Alassane Youssouf to come into the national team. This is a player who won the Belgian League last year, played in the Champions League this season for Royal Antwerp. The potential is clearly there, and I'm not sure why he wasn't getting a look in. It took Ndidi getting injured for Pesero to even pick him, and somehow Pesero's not relying on him. So, to be honest, let's not talk too much about Pesero because we'll be here all day. I thought Ademola Lookman also had a very good game. I know people could say at some points he could have made more crosses, but I thought he was a lively threat throughout the game. Very, very lively. Obviously got the assist for Victor Osimhen. Yes, his bad touch let him down for one of the opportunities where he could have scored, but I thought those two were really the standouts for us. In terms of middle ground, not so good, not so shit, Victor Osimhen obviously scored, so we can't really say too much, but he also missed two gilt-edged opportunities, so he could have easily ended the game with a hat-trick. But nevertheless, we keep going on. Nwabali was decent. I thought he didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't really tested because Equatorial Guinea had one shot on target and they scored from it. So he should start the next game and we'll see how he gets on. Alex Iwobi also was put in the middle because like that chance for Osimhen, football's all about moments. If Osimhen scores that goal, all of a sudden we're all talking about how amazing the assist from Iwobi was. But here we are thinking, okay, Iwobi could have done a bit more in the game. So hopefully it improves as the tournament goes on. And then people I wanted to call out based on their performances, I thought Moses Simon was average at best. I know he's still living off the 3 group stage games he played in the last AFCON, but sometimes he can be such a frustrating player. Tries to be his man too much, can't necessarily put in as good of the kind of crosses we've seen him put for Nantes. So really, really poor performance from him, if you ask me. I thought Zaidu Sanusi was also pretty poor. Yes, you could say he's an athlete, so he was good at bombing down the wing, but he was guilty of squandering a gilt-edged opportunity, as well as the easy square ball that he could have put in for Iwobi. Also, he got a yellow card, which was very careless, so I thought he wasn't that great. Frank Onyeka also, I thought he was anonymous in this game, to be honest with you. I don't even know. After like 50 minutes, I was like, wait, Frank Onyeka's still on this pitch. He was basically like invincible. So, me personally, I would like to see Onyeka get a chance in the next game, but let's see. And then finally, you could say this is a bit harsh, but I thought Semi Ajayi was pretty shocking. We know he's good in the air, and I called out his aerial threat in the last episode. But my God, Semi Ajayi on the ball, you can see why he plays in the championship. And also, the Equatorial Guinea players were bullying him. This is a big man. He's like 6'4". He should not be getting bullied in AFCON. But there he was. Emilio Nsue bodied him off the ball like twice. I thought his passing was very, very shaky, and he just didn't look assured. So it begs the question: why was Calvin Bassey not starting? This is a Premier League centre back who's been playing well for Fulham, especially over the last 2 months. So one of those interesting things I'll never understand from Pesero. Anyway, other thoughts from the game. As I said, Alassane Youssouf was amazing. It's a shame he got injured, but he did confirm after the game in the mix zone, speaking to journalists, that it's just a cramp. So we should see. Osimhen has to do better in terms of his chances. So let's see what happens with that one. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but Zaidu Sanusi was taking our set pieces. Very, very strange. I've never seen Sanusi take any set pieces for Porto. And I'm not sure he's a better deliverer of the ball than some of the other options that were starting the game. So that was an interesting one for me personally. We need to improve in front of goal to have any chance of progressing. And I think it's still hard to understand the identity of the team. Earlier today I watched Senegal play, and you could see they have a settled side. You could see why they do so well. And you could just tell they have an identity in the way they play football. But anyway, we move. It's the first game done. Positives, we did not lose. We take the 1 point, and we know that even though we're playing Ivory Coast next, we will be a formidable opposition for any team. In other group game updates, we saw Ivory Coast kick off the tournament on Saturday night with a 2-0 win over Guinea-Bissau. Oh my God, I know I mentioned Seko Fofana, but my word, what a player. I mean, scored the opening goal of the tournament after 4 minutes with a great shot. He also hit the post with another shot. And I'm not even going to lie to you, I'm worried about him taking shots against Nigeria's goalkeepers. So watch out for that one. Also, Jean-Philippe Crasso scored a pretty good goal, capitalizing on a mistake from Guinea-Bissau in the 58th minute. He is a striker for Red Star Belgrade, so the jury's still out. I thought Ivory Coast played okay. They had 10 shots on target, 10 shots in the game, 4 shots on target. Yes, they dominated possession, but if you watch the game, Guinea-Bissau had their chances. Guinea-Bissau had 10 shots, including 3 on target. And if they just had a better attack, you could see how they could have punished the Ivory Coast defense. But yeah, they're the host. Maybe it was a few nerves to start the tournament. But I left with the impression that Ivory Coast are there for the taking. But you could also say the same for Nigeria. So it should be a great game to watch on Thursday. What else? Let's see what happens, because I thought the Ivory Coast lineup was quite interesting. But as I said, with their midfield, Frankesi, Sangare, Fofana, that is dynamite. Wilfred Singo on the right, he didn't have the best game. He got taken off at halftime. But I'm telling you, there's a player in there. So we move, and let's see how we perform against them in our next game. So quickly to preview our game against Cote d'Ivoire on Thursday, 6 p.m. Nigeria time. What do we expect from a starting lineup? I expect minimal changes from Jose Pesero, to be fair. Nwabali should start in goal. Ola Aina should continue at right back. He'll probably continue with Ekong and Ajayi at centre-back, but me personally, I'd love to see Basi come in for Ajayi. Zaidu Sanusi will probably start again, but I would like to see Bruno Yemachi start the game because he's been impressing on the Pesero in the previous games before AFCON. Alassane Yusuf, if he's fit, will definitely start, and I would like to see Rafael Onyedika given a chance over Frank Onyeka in the game, but it's likely Frank Onyeka will start again. And then also, we expect Lookman, Iwobi, and Osimhen to start. And then the only other thing I would potentially see changes in is Moses Simon being taken off for Chukwueze to start the game. So let's see what would happen. I also don't expect Ivory Coast to change their lineup. They should start with the same team. Yusuf Fofana in goal, Singo at right back, Conan at left back, Ndika and Diomande at centre back, Frankesi, Sangare, and Seko Fofana in midfield, Jeremy Boga, right wing, Jonathan Bamba. Remember, Jonathan Bamba played with Victor Osimhen at Lille. Very good player. And we would expect Crasso to continue up top for the host. Score predictions. There's a prediction with the heart and a prediction with the head. Prediction in the heart. Last time we played Ivory Coast at AFCON, we beat them 2-1 where we won the AFCON. So hopefully that's a good omen. And people would also remember that tournament. Our first 2 games, we actually drew them and didn't play very well. In fact, we were really terrible. And we needed to win our last group game of the 2013 AFCON against Ethiopia, courtesy of 2 penalties from Victor Moses in the 80th minute and the 90th minute to even progress. So I'm just looking for positives, but I'm saying hopefully this will be good omens and we could see the team improve as the tournament goes. So my heart says 2-1 for Nigeria. I think the hosts will be feeling the pressure, but my head tells me it'll be a 1-1 draw. So look out for this space, and I expect Osimhen to score again, considering he's got the monkey off his back with that goal in his first start in the tournament. So moving on to other AFCON games that have taken place since our game. As you all know, misery loves company. Nigeria, after our 1-1 draw, I was feeling pretty downtrodden. But then I watched Egypt play Mozambique, and they drew 2-2 and also needed a last-minute penalty from Mohamed Salah to even draw the game. Mustafa Mohamed scored a great goal in the second minute to open the scoring. And then we saw Witty score in the 55th minute with a great finish. I thought it was just a great move from them. Before Klesio Bake scored in the 58th minute. And then, as I said, Mohamed Salah scored a controversial penalty given by VAR in the 97th minute of the game to tie the match. Ghana, on the other hand, they lost 2-1 to Cape Verde. So I'm not going to lie, that one made me happy. I mean, Jamiro Montero put the Cape Verdeans ahead in the 17th minute. Alexander Jiku scored in the 56th minute. Very good defender. I'm sure you remember him when he played against Nigeria. Before Gary Rodriguez scored the winner in the 92nd minute of the game. So those were the games on Sunday. And then earlier today, we saw Senegal start AFCON with a bang. 3-0 procession victory over Gambia. Papa Gay scored a great goal, and after 4 minutes, Sadio Mane laid the ball off and it is put in the bottom corner. After watching AFCON so far, I'm not going to lie, Senegal are still the favourites. They look amazing. And they've got the CAF Young Player of the Year, Lamine Camara, who moved to Metz last year and has been ripping it up. And this brother scored 2 goals in his AFCON debut. He is an absolute superstar. All of us who thought Senegal's golden generation are getting older, do not be mistaken. These guys have enough firepower in the can, I'm telling you. So if you haven't seen the goals, go watch Senegal's highlights. Lamine Camara, his second goal in particular was an absolute stunner. So look out for that. Cameroon drew with Guinea 1-1. Mohamed Bayo put Guinea up in the 10th minute. And then Guinea got a very controversial red card, in my opinion, just before halftime. Their captain, Francois Kamano, got sent off before Frank Magri scored a header in the 51st minute to equalize for the indomitable Lions. And then earlier, just recently, in the recently concluded game, Algeria drew 1-1 with Angola, with Boneja scoring in the 18th minute and then Mabululu scoring a penalty in the 68th minute. So, I mean, so far, only Senegal and Ivory Coast have won their games for the big teams. So this is why we love AFCON, man. There's so many storylines and no win is ever guaranteed. And then finally, group games to look forward to between now and when Nigeria play. We will see Burkina Faso play Mauritania tomorrow. Watch out for Burkina Faso. Very, very good team. Tunisia play Namibia at 6 p.m. tomorrow Nigeria time. And then Mali, South Africa at 9 p.m. Nigeria time. That should be a very, very entertaining game tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, we've got 2 games to round off match day 1 of AFCON. Morocco play Tanzania at 6 p.m. And then DR Congo play Zambia at 9 p.m. And then prior to Nigeria's game, we will see the other 2 teams in our group, Equatorial Guinea and Guinea-Bissau, face off at 3 p.m. on Thursday before our big one at 6 p.m. against the host, Ivory Coast. So that's it for this episode of the podcast. I mean, very, very disappointing from Nigeria, but look, we go again. We keep the faith. And ultimately, there's nothing like watching your team in a tournament. So let's keep supporting the Super Eagles and let's go. By God's grace, we will do well in the next game. But thanks again for listening. I appreciate all the new listeners and followers. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nigeria Football Weekly, and continue to spread the word. Our Twitter handle is NFWPOD, and Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere else, it's Nigeria Football Weekly. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on Friday to review the game against the Ivory Coast and preview our final group game against Guinea-Bissau. Ciao, ciao, and take care. Go Super Eagles. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigeria no dey ever carry last.